everybody. Like Richard said, my name is Lexi, and I'm here to share my story with you guys, which I titled A Walk in My Shoes, the story of how I got here and where I am going next. So I want to start off this presentation by saying I'm not special. Nothing about me is special. I have overcome some obstacles and hardships in my life that have led to achievements, but it's not because I'm special. It's just because I have worked harder than I've ever worked in my life to get where I am right now. And I truly believe that everybody is capable of working hard as long as they have a dream or a passion worth working hard for. So I'm not special. Also, everything I'm going to share with you today, it's only a portion of my life, but I wouldn't change not one thing in this presentation or in my life in general. Because even though these hardships and obstacles may have been a struggle, they have made me who I am today. And I'm truly grateful for that. So I don't know who I would be. I don't know if I'd be on this stage if I didn't have these hardships. So I wouldn't change that one thing. So I basically set out a goal 4 years ago to graduate. And this past May, I did graduate with a degree in environmental engineering. So what does that mean? I can't even imagine, I can't even tell you how excited, and so I was just so happy. That's why I chose this as my background for today's presentation, because this picture right here brings me so much pride and joy to see. It's a reminder of the greatest accomplishment I have had in my life so far. So now I wake up every morning feeling so excited, grateful, blessed on the path that I've taken in my life and the life I'm going to carve out for myself. So I turned 23 last month, which might be a little old to you guys, but I realized my life hasn't even really begun. I've been in school, just like you, been in school, not doing much. But I can tell you for a fact, with confidence, that my life is bright. My future is bright, just based on the degree that I've earned here at UNH and the connections I have made. So I have confidence that my future is bright. So that's why I wanted to share my story with you all today, to kind of show you or maybe make you realize that no matter who you are, where you're from, what life throws at you, you can still be successful. You just have to want it, and want it bad enough to work for it. Because nothing in life really comes easy. So, who am I? I framed this presentation around some of the identities that I have. So I'm a first generation, low-income, multicultural student with a learning disability who is a woman pursuing a degree in STEM. And because I fit into all these boxes, I'm considered an underrepresented minority. An underrepresented minority is just someone who is less represented. It's a group or groups of people who are less represented in higher education or occupations and jobs compared to their US population. So only a fraction of students here at UNH share these identities with me, but that's okay. So now I want to kind of break them all down for you. So first generation student, that just means my parents did not go to college. I'm the first one in my family to go and attend and graduate from a four-year university, first gen student. So this was kind of interesting when I was starting to think about even applying to college or even wanting to go to college, because I couldn't ask my parents how to pick a school, how to pick a major, how to write a college essay, how to take the SATs, because they were clueless. They were as clueless as me, which meant if I was really serious about going to college, which I was, I needed to kind of take charge and do some research on this and reach out to my teachers and guidance counselors to get this info. And that's exactly what I did. Multicultural student. I'm Puerto Rican and Ecuadorian, so my dad migrated here when he was 15 years old, and my mom is actually second generation American. Her grandparents came from Spain and moved to Puerto Rico. Low income. So low income, I'm probably going to spend most of my time talking about this because it's the one identity that really has produced the most obstacles for me, I believe. So I'm low income student simply because my parents did not have opportunities to high paying jobs. As I mentioned before, they didn't go to college and they only got jobs where they could find them, jobs that they had no real choice in, just to support us, which is amazing. But this meant that when I was thinking about going to college, I knew they would not be able to support me. And the only option I saw was, relying on loans. And my parents were very, very against the idea of loans. They've taken out many loans and they weren't able to pay them back, and they got stuck in debt and all of that stuff. And I understand. They were scared that I was going to graduate with a degree and still not be able to pay these loans. But I was determined. I knew college was the only way I could really have the opportunities to high-paying jobs. So I had to take out loans. That was the only option for me. So instead of thinking about these loans as, scary, long-term investments, which they are, don't get me wrong, I started thinking about it as an investment on myself. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money, and I was willing to make that gamble. I knew I wanted a better life. So I knew that if I went to college and if I took out these loans, there's no turning back until I graduated. So that's what I did. And honestly, that's the only way I saw that I could get here. So I took that gamble, and it paid off, I think. Yeah, I'm in a little bit of debt, but that's all right. So actually, my parents started their family pretty early. My mom got pregnant with my twin brothers at 16, which meant she had to drop out of high school, and she started to take night classes to get her GED. My dad, on the other hand, already graduated, so he started working full-time to support his new family. 6 years later, they had me. 6 years after that, they had my sister. And a few years go by, and we're all growing up pretty fast. We get 2 puppers. So my parents think, maybe it's time to move out of our tiny apartment, and try to get a house. And that's what they did. So in 4th grade, we moved to this house right here, which was amazing. But it's kind of funny. This picture, it looks like one house, but our side of the house was this. It's like half houses, I don't know. But this is our side of the house. And we were all really excited and happy to start living in this new house. It was way bigger than our apartment. But the timing was poor. It was actually very unfortunate timing, because right when we got this house, we were smack dab in the middle of the recession, which was seen and classified as the greatest economic decline since the Great Depression. And it really hit my family hard, very hard. My dad went from working full-time to working part-time, working no time at all, and then he eventually lost his job. And that's when things started to really change in my household. And I realized kind of the power that money has and how powerless one could feel without it. And I think this really came to full effect in 7th grade. 7th grade, I was walking home from school, and I see this big yellow poster on my door with big bold black text. Didn't know what it was until I got closer and read it. And it went something like this. The tenants at this residence have a water bill past due. If you do not pay such and so amount by such and so date, your water will be shut off immediately. I remember ripping this poster off of my door and storming into my house out of anger, sadness, embarrassment, all 3, just because I didn't understand why it was so big. Why try to embarrass us that way? And that's when money really kind of was something I started to worry about. So fast forward a little bit, and I'm a sophomore here at UNH, and the end of my sophomore year, my dad calls me up and says that the bank is actually auctioning off this house, that we were being evicted, that this house that I've lived in since 4th grade is no longer ours. And that's when UNH officially became my home, because I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was up here, had an apartment off campus. I was supporting myself, and there was no place for me back at home. So UNH was my home. So my parents are the main reason I've always known I wanted to go to college. Because it's not because they told me to or wanted me to, it's because I saw them struggle all my life. Struggle to make ends meet, working jobs they had no choice in, and didn't enjoy, coming home super tired off long days, making very little money. I knew I wanted something different. I knew I wanted a job that could make me feel secure. I don't want to be a billionaire, just secure. And I wanted a job that I knew I would enjoy working for every single day for the rest of my life. And I truly believe that college is the only way I could have done that. Education opens doors to opportunities. And those opportunities have high-paying jobs. And I truly believe that, it's a parent's job to take care of their children as they grow up, but it's a child's job to take care of their parents as they grow old. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I wanted to do. All right, so next is my learning disability. This is pretty funny, actually. So I didn't officially know I had a learning disability until my junior year here at UNH. So I never considered myself a smart kid. Never in my life. I felt a mile behind all my classmates throughout all of my schooling when it came to reading and writing. And I knew something was different about me when I would hear kids kind of like giggling, snickering in the background as I stumbled and tripped over my words, easy words that I was reading out loud. Because kids can be cruel in that way. So I decided maybe I should become the class clown, and so that I could redirect their laughter. Instead of them laughing at me, I'll start laughing at myself, and everything will be okay. But that didn't really work out. So I started to use those insecurities, use that embarrassment to push forward, to make me do better. If that meant I had to work harder and longer than everybody else, I did that just to get by, just so nobody could realize. I could fly under the radar, and that's what I did pretty much. I went through all of my grammar school and all of my high school, no one really questioning my abilities because I was getting by. I was getting B's, so everything was okay. But as soon as I got into college, there was this huge jump in the amount of reading and writing that I needed to do, and I couldn't just get by anymore. I couldn't deny the fact that there was something wrong. So, almost on the verge of a breakdown, I swallowed my pride and I reached out for help. I went to the Center for Academic Resources here on campus, and I sat down with my academic counselor and told her my story, told her about my schooling, everything. And on the verge of tears, I said out loud for the first time in a serious setting that I think I might be dyslexic. And she believed me. First time I said that out loud. And she was like, okay, but the only way you can get accommodations for school is if you get officially diagnosed. So we looked into it, and it would actually cost me north of $1,000 to get diagnosed. Even with my 3 jobs, I did not have that money, and I knew my parents did not have that money, so what did I do? I did what I do best. I picked myself up, I took a deep breath, and I pushed forward. This was freshman year. I had already taken out, I think, $12,000 in loans. There was no turning back. I was not quitting. There was no way I was going to drop out, so I had to push forward. Again, had to work longer and harder than everybody else just to get by, but that's okay. Eventually, I luckily got some funding from a program that I was participating in, and they funded me to get diagnosed, and I'm officially diagnosed now I got diagnosed when I was a junior, and I have dyslexia and slow processing, which is like a comprehension thing. So now I know, all this time thinking I was stupid, all this time thinking I was just so far behind everybody else wasn't the case. My brain works differently. Everybody's brain works differently, and that's okay because different is human. Lastly, I am a woman in pursuing a degree in STEM. So there's research that shows that men and women are actually graduating from college at a pretty similar rate now, which is amazing. But when you look at STEM fields, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, there's still a discrepancy in women. So this is as of 2015. As you can see, like the minority groups are all very low in engineering, but every single woman within those minority groups are even less represented than their male counterparts. So there's still a discrepancy here. So, because I check all these boxes off, there's research and statistics and all this stuff saying people who identify like me, people who look like me, come from backgrounds like me, are less likely to graduate from a 4-year university and more likely to drop out their freshman year. But why? Not because our smarts. It's because we might have obstacles in our path that other students may never encounter in their life. But here I am. So I just want you to know, just because someone tells you you are more likely to fail, doesn't mean you have to. You are your own person, and you decide if you want to be a statistic or break that statistic. Me, I wanted to break that statistic, so not only did I graduate from a 4-year university in engineering, I did it with honors, and now I'm back for my master's degree. And if I could do something like that, so can you. So, how did I get here? To be honest with you, I had no idea how I got here. I didn't know what made me a successful student, so I did some research and I looked up kind of like some traits that I had, characteristics of how I studied and moved forward, and I came across a word that is perfect, I think, describes it perfectly, and that word is grit. So grit basically stands for passion and perseverance, and I was very passionate about learning to improve my life, and I persevered almost past every obstacle that I've had. So, grit, very interesting word. I would suggest you guys look it up. It's pretty interesting stuff. So they have this neat little acronym that we could break down. First is goals. The starting point of all achievements is desire. I desired a better life. I desired a job that was secure and that I would love doing every day. So I had this huge dream, and you have to break down that dream into tiny, tiny goals that you can kind of achieve on a daily basis, baby steps toward that big dream. But in order to do that, you have to envision one. What do you want? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? These are huge questions that I hated every time someone asked me. But maybe you should just start thinking about it. Where do you see yourself in 5, 10, 20 years? It's hard to think about. If you asked me if I saw myself on this stage 5 years ago, I would tell you you're crazy. I'd never believe you. Yet here I am. So goals, always set goals. Resilience. Do not be embarrassed by your failures. Learn from them and start again. Failure is inevitable. Everybody fails. I've failed multiple times throughout my life. Nobody's perfect. The thing is about failure, you have to be strong enough to get back up and try again. Don't be a quitter. You could do it. Intention. Our intention creates our reality. Intention is a state of mind to be focused and committed to your goals and dreams. Nothing happens by accident. You're not going to wake up one day and be a doctor. You have to envision yourself being a doctor. Then you have to take the steps to be that doctor. What do I have to do? What schools do I have to go to? What programs do I have to apply to? There's always a path, and there's multiple paths you can take. But there's always steps and that you have to do on purpose. Nothing happens by accident. Time management. Overnight success stories take a long time. People work all their lives to be successful, literally. And then once they are successful, they have to work to keep that success. I feel like in this day and age, everyone wants to just be rich and famous overnight. And that happens for some people, but for the majority of people, it's going to take time. It's going to take years. And that's okay. Be patient. It'll happen. Schedule time for your passion, and it will happen. And then I think there actually should be an E. Instead of grit, it should be Greek, because environment matters. It takes a village to raise a child. I had this quote on my graduation cap because I'm standing on the stage with tons of people behind me who have supported me throughout my life. I didn't do it alone. I allowed people to help me. I asked for help, and that's okay. People sometimes are scared to ask for help because you might think less of me. No. At a university level, everyone here is here to support you. So ask for help. Use your resources. Let people believe in you. Let people support you. Let people invest in you and train you. That's how you improve. That's how you get better. That's how you make connections. So where am I going next? Again, to be honest, I don't know. And that's okay, because you don't have to know what's next. You don't have to know exactly you don't have to plan out your future exactly, because you don't know what's next. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month. As long as you have a plan to reach your goals and your dreams, you'll get there. You can take multiple paths and still get there, So I don't know where I'm going next, but as I told you in the beginning, I'm confident that my future is bright. And I can say that with confidence because everybody in this photo, these are all my pals that graduated with me, all environmental engineering. They've either gone to grad school like me, or they have accepted a full-time job as an environmental engineer. All of them, which is amazing. Job security right there. So I'm excited because I am sort of confident that I'll be able to nail a job down right after graduation. Awesome, first step. Also, on average, the income for an environmental engineer would be about $50,000 a year. And I don't know about you, but that's almost twice as much as my parents make. Twice as much. So right now, I'm set up to be able to get a job right after I graduate, a high-paying job. And it's for something that I love doing. I love my major. It's very interesting. And I'm really grateful that I've found something that I'm good at and enjoy. So in closing, there will be obstacles, there will be doubters, there will be mistakes, but with hard work, there are no limits. And that's true 100%. This is your life, and you're the only one who has control over it. You're the only one who knows what you want to do. You're the only one who can make something happen. So, take advantage of everything that you can, every opportunity. And education is key. It's the key to the door of opportunity. And I really believe that, So, thank you for listening to my story. I really hope that it's made you realize that no matter who you are, where you come from, what life throws at you, you can be successful and you will be successful. As long as you work hard enough to get that success. And success looks different for everybody. So, thanks for listening. This is my email. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about my story or school or anything like that. How did I even pick UNH, pick my major? How did I, all that stuff. I couldn't fit that in this presentation, but please feel free to reach out to me by email.